Hi, this is Sui from Ingenious Technologies, and in this video, we are going to show you how you can implement third-party tracking codes on your Ingenious Enterprise platform. Now, how you need to implement third-party tracking codes depends a lot on what type of codes you are dealing with. We discuss these different types of codes at length in a different video. Here, we just provide a brief summary. First, we make a distinction between third-party tracking codes triggered unconditionally and codes triggered by the conversion tracking codes only. Concerning the conversion tracking codes, we separate them into JavaScript and callback codes. And for callback codes, we divide them into image codes, which are fired via a container in the conversion tracking code, and server-to-server codes, which are fired via the tracking server. Let's start with the codes triggered unconditionally. Of all the third-party tracking codes we discuss in this video, these codes are the only ones that need to be implemented on the admin UI. All other codes are implemented on the partner UI. So to start, make sure you are logged in to your admin UI. Go to the advertiser section and click on Manage Advertisers. In the advertiser overview, go to the technical section and click on the last icon in this section. When the page has loaded, click on the OnPage Code tab. Now, as you can see, a page is loaded containing two panels. On the right, under Current Version, you will see the content of the container in the OnPage Code as it is right now. In the panel on the left, under New Version, you can implement the JavaScript your partners want to use. So let's grab a JavaScript a partner is using to track behavior of potential customers on the websites of advertisers. We copy it, and then we paste it here. Now while you're working on this, you can use this section to temporarily save, undo, and redo any changes you make. You can click on this icon to open the panel in a separate window to make sure that you can work on the JavaScript without any distractions. Below the two panels, you have another panel in which you can write down comments. Making comments can be handy, for example, when you want to keep a record of what partners you implemented JavaScript for. Further below, you can compare the current version with the new version of the container. Any differences will be highlighted. At the bottom of the page, you can save the new version of the container. Make sure you select Enqueue for approval and click on Save here. If you do this, the container will be updated. As mentioned earlier, all other third-party tracking codes have to be implemented via the partner UI. So let's go there. We start by finding the partner under Partner Management. If needed, you can use the filter options here. Please note that there is an option Third-Party Tracking that allows you to search for partners that have implemented third-party tracking codes and partners that are awaiting confirmation for the JavaScripts that they have implemented. Once you've found the partner, proceed to click on the blue arrow here to log in as a partner. The Partner UI will open up in a new tab, which sometimes will be recognized as a pop-up. So please make sure you allow pop-ups for the domain of the Partner UI. So here we see the dashboard of the partner. To implement third-party tracking codes, you need to click on Third-Party Tracking Settings in the main menu here. If we do this, we see a page that contains two panels: the third-party tracking services and the code sets. Under third-party tracking services, we define the conditions under which the codes will be fired. Under code sets, we store the codes themselves. We start by clicking on Create New Code Set. And on the page loaded now, we need to give the code we implemented a name. Unless you're working with a generic code, it is recommended to give your code a name which encloses the advertiser and the conversion target for which you will use the code. Beside the name, you can add a brief description of your code here. In this field here, you can paste the actual code you want to use. Let's grab a simple code here. Now, as you can see, the moment I paste the code, the platform detects the parameters in it. What we need to do now is define what values are to be used for these parameters. We do this by using placeholders provided in the panel here. For example, here we can find the order value, and to make sure the order value of every transaction is transmitted, all we need to do is remove the original value and drag and drop the placeholder from the panel to the field here. On this first tab, you will find three basic placeholders: the order ID, the order value, and the currency. Under the Extended tab, you will find a lot more. A particularly important one is the sub-ID. Adding the sub-ID as a parameter to the callback code allows partners to make a connection between the click on the Add Media item and the conversion. On the third tab, you can find placeholders for values that are only available for server-to-server callback codes. Of course, putting in placeholders for the values of the parameters is not mandatory. You can also work with static placeholders. Once we've put the placeholders in place, all we've got left to do on this place is to hit the button Save at the bottom of the page. If we do so, we will be taken back to the main third-party tracking page, where we now need to create a third-party tracking service. This defines the conditions under which the code is triggered. We do this by clicking on the Create New Tracking Service button. As we can see, a new line appears. We start by giving the service a name. Depending on the service, it can also be recommended to relate the name to the advertiser, whose confirmation page we want the code to be triggered on. Then we need to relate the service to the code set we have just created. In this case, it is very easy because we only have one code. But things can get a bit tricky when we are working with multiple code sets and we have to create a lot of services. After we have related the service to the code set, we need to select a delivery service. This is where we make a difference between image and server-to-server callback third-party tracking. If we want the code to be triggered in the container of the conversion code, we need to select browser side here. If we want the code to be triggered via the tracking server of Ingenious Technologies, we need to select server side. Let's take server side for the moment. We proceed to select the add space that we want the third-party tracking to relate to. This is only important when the partner is working with different add spaces and wants to use different third-party tracking codes for them. After we've selected the add space, we can narrow down the conditions further. We can select an advertiser, a conversion target, and even a product category. Alternatively, we can define the code to be triggered for all product categories, conversion targets, and advertisers. After defining the conditions, we set the service to be active and save the service by clicking on this little green icon here. So far so good. We now have a functioning server-to-server callback code implemented for the partner. Now let's have a look at how we can implement a JavaScript. Here we have one. This is a rather complicated script, and it is used by affiliate networks to relate the product categories used on the platform to their commission categories. Anyway, let's put it in. We click on Create New Code Set again. Give the code set a name and perhaps a description. For the JavaScript, we need to activate the advanced mode by ticking this box here. As you can see, a new panel appears lower on the page. Let's have a closer look at it. In this section, we can find the placeholders. Then we have two fields here called New Version and one called Previous Version. The previous version field is obviously empty because we did not create anything yet. What we need to do now is to paste the JavaScript into the new version field. And as soon as we have done this, we can start to add the placeholders from the panel above. When we edit the script later on, we can use this section to write down a few notes. And in this section to compare the new with the older version. You can display both versions side by side and inline while the changes are displayed in pink. Now, the biggest difference with the callback codes is that the partner will need to get it confirmed by you when implementing a JavaScript. This is done to avoid having erroneous JavaScripts becoming immediately active on the confirmation page of the advertiser. Therefore, a partner needs to request for approval for the JavaScript here. And if you are implementing a JavaScript for a partner, you need to do the same. A partner can also save the script but not ask for approval yet. And when we are ready, we can hit the Save button. Now, before I show you how you can approve the code, let me quickly create a service for the JavaScript here. Again, we need to give the service code a name. And we relate it to the code set we just created. For JavaScripts, it is important that you always click the browser-side delivery method, because a JavaScript cannot be triggered via a server. And then we select the add space, and if needed, a specific advertiser, a conversion target, and a product category. We set the status to active and save by clicking on the green icon again. Now, to approve the JavaScript, we need to go back to the admin UI. In the admin UI, we go to the partnership management. Now, in the filter panel, there is an option called third-party tracking. As you can see, you can filter for partners that have active third-party tracking codes implemented and also partners that are waiting to get the tracking codes approved. So let's take that option and then we proceed to click on Search here. To approve codes, we have to use this little icon here. When we click on it, we see an overview of all JavaScripts that have been implemented for this partner. In the column on the right, we can find the status. A green check indicates the script has been approved, and an hourglass indicates the partner has asked for approval. To approve, we need to click on this icon here. The page loaded now basically has the same structure as the page on which the partner implemented the code. In this panel, we find the name and the description. If the partner implemented an image code along with the JavaScript, you will find it here. Now in this section, under New Version, you can see the script for which the partner requested approval for. If there was a previous version, you will find it here. You can compare the new and the previous versions by using this panel here, as all your changes will be marked in pink. With these options here, you can choose to display the script side by side or inline. If you find the JavaScript is fine, please scroll down, select Approve, and click on Save. So now we also have a JavaScript enclosed in the container of the conversion code. That means we are done. Further details on third-party tracking implementation can be found in our documentation. Hope you enjoyed this video. Best wishes from Berlin, and be well.